Have you ever denied someone access to something that was yours, only to have them call the police on you? Well, that's exactly what happened to me, and the ending will shock you. Before we dive in, comment down below which country you're watching this video from. I always love seeing how far these stories travel. This story takes place in a quiet suburban neighborhood where I owned a house that had one very special feature, a private swimming pool. Now, this wasn't part of the HOA's shared amenities. It was completely on my property, built by me, paid for by me, and maintained with my own money. But apparently to Karen, the president of the HOA, that didn't matter. She thought everything in the neighborhood belonged to her if she wanted it. It started small. She'd make snide comments whenever I was out by the pool, saying things like, "It should be open to the community," or that I was being selfish by hogging it all to myself. I brushed it off at first, thinking she was just being her usual self, trying to push her authority where it didn't belong, but it escalated quickly. One hot weekend, I found out that she had been handing out pool passes to HOA members, claiming she had organized access for residents. Imagine my surprise when two families showed up at my gate, expecting to swim in my private pool because Karen told them they had rights to use it. That's when I knew she was crossing a dangerous line. I confronted her politely, explained the pool was mine, and asked her to stop telling people otherwise. But instead of backing off, she doubled down. She spread rumors around the neighborhood saying I was hiding something, that my pool wasn't up to code, and that it actually belonged to the HOA from the beginning. Of course, none of that was true, but gossip spreads fast, and soon I had multiple people knocking on my door asking why they couldn't use the community pool. The breaking point came when Karen herself showed up at my gate with a group of residents demanding access. When I told her no, she smirked, pulled out her phone, and called the cops right there in front of everyone. She reported me for blocking access to a community facility. The officers arrived shortly after, expecting a heated dispute. Karen was animated, waving her hands, telling them I was breaking HOA rules and denying residents something they were entitled to. She even pulled out paperwork, trying to convince them the pool was listed under the HOA's assets. But here's the thing. I had receipts, permits, and property records proving without a doubt that the pool was mine and had nothing to do with the HOA. As I presented my evidence to the officers, I noticed something strange about the documents Karen had handed them. They weren't just misleading, they were forged. The letterhead looked fake, the signatures didn't match, and the dates didn't make sense. I realized then that Karen hadn't just been lying to the neighbors, she had actually created fake HOA documents to support her claims. The officers quickly picked up on it too. They pulled me aside, asked a few questions, and within minutes, the situation turned against Karen. Instead of me being accused of wrongdoing, she found herself being investigated right there on the sidewalk. The officers informed her that filing false reports and producing fraudulent documents was a serious crime. Her face went pale as they asked her to explain herself. But it didn't end there. That night, I dug deeper into what Karen had been doing as HOA president. I discovered that she had been charging residents maintenance fees for amenities that didn't even exist. She claimed money was going toward pool upkeep, clubhouse repairs, and even landscaping for areas that were never touched. People had been paying hundreds, sometimes thousands, without realizing it was all going into her pocket. With the help of a few fed-up neighbors, I compiled everything. Bank statements, copies of her fake documents, and testimonies from residents who had been misled. We handed it all over to law enforcement and the state's HOA regulatory board. The investigation moved fast, and within weeks, Karen was removed from her position, slapped with charges for fraud, forgery, and embezzlement. The neighborhood was in shock. For years, she had convinced everyone that she was the one keeping the HOA running smoothly. In reality, she was exploiting her position for personal gain, and the pool incident was the mistake that exposed her entire operation. The irony? All of this started because she wanted to use something that wasn't hers. She could have stayed quiet, lived her life, and continued her little schemes in the shadows, but her obsession with control and her need to dominate everything around her pushed her too far. After she was ousted, the HOA held emergency elections and new leadership was put in place. They were far more reasonable, transparent, and respectful of property lines. The community slowly regained trust, and people finally realized they had been fooled by someone who only cared about power and money. As for me, my pool remains mine, and mine alone. I made it clear that no one outside my family and invited guests are allowed in. And this time, no one dares to argue. The same neighbors who once believed Karen's lies have since apologized, some even helping me clean up after the chaos she caused. In the end, Karen's downfall became a lesson for the whole community. It showed how dangerous unchecked authority can be when it falls into the wrong hands. And it reminded everyone that standing up for your rights, even against someone loud and intimidating, is always worth it. So next time someone insists they own what's rightfully yours, don't let them push you around. Stand firm, gather your proof, and let the truth speak louder than their lies.